Okay, so we're going to bring this into layout space. So the first thing we need to do is set up our layout number 1. So I'll open this up, delete the viewport, and set myself up for a B-size sheet. So I'm going to come in here and pick none at this point because I'm at home, so I don't have access to the plotter, the printer driver that we have at school. So we have to use a generic ANSI B, and our title block won't fit in here because we designed it to fit on the printer at school. So as long as you put it in and put your objects within the title block when you set it up for the printer at school to print out, you should be all set. So that's what I'm going to do here. So you'll see here, and I'm going to go ahead and insert at this point my title block. So I'm going to grab that off of my hard drive, and that should be in here someplace. Let's see, B-size title. Okay, I'll open that up and insert it in, and you'll see that it's not going to fit within the hard clip limits, and the project name on this is going to be assignment assignment 8. This is going to be, oh, what did I call this? Frame support. Couldn't remember. Brain cramp. Alright, so the project here, the value for that is going to be assignment 8. The drawing is called frame support. It's drawn by your name. Okay. The scale is as shown. The date would be the date that you're doing it. In this case here, it's Friday, April 10th and 15. And the page number is 1 of 1, and we'll hit OK. So that's all in here. Now I can be confident that my title block is designed for the sheet at school, so I'm not going to worry about the hard clip limits. When I get to school, I'll reset my layout so that it's set for the correct printer, and then the hard clip limits will change, and I may have to move my title block and my viewports a little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. Alright, so with that said, we're all set to take this and make this into a two-dimensional drawing like this. Okay, so the way that this works is we can use any of the viewports. It doesn't matter which one we're in, but it really wants to work from the front viewport first. That's really the default viewport. So we'll come up here. We're in 3D modeling, and I'm going to come up here to the layout tab, and in here under layout tab we have this thing called base. If you click on it, you can do it from model space or from inventor. So I'm going to click from model space, and it asks me down here on the command line, view base asks you to select objects or entire model, which is what we want here. So I'll hit enter, and view base now asks you for enter the name or new or existing layout to make current. So layout 1 is what we've already set up, so we can just hit enter on that. And then when we do, you can see we're bringing in our front view into our layout. So I'm going to position it right about here, down here in the corner, and well, I guess right about there is good. And once you have it in here, you have several options for the view base. You have orientation. So this would be, for instance, whether or not you want it to be the top view, the bottom view, the left, right, front, isometric, or whatever. Like I said, the default is front, so we'll leave that alone. Hidden lines, we have options for hidden lines in here, whether or not we want just visible lines, or we want visible lines and hidden lines. And when they're talking about visible lines, they're talking about object lines. Or a shaded view with visible lines, or a shaded with visible and hidden lines. By default, we're going to use visible and hidden lines because that's all we really want. On scale, right now it's defaulted to half scale in order to fit it on the sheet. AutoCAD's intelligent enough to pick a scale for us, which is fine. I don't want to change that at this point. And under visibility, this really is more for isometric views, but you can project interference edges, tangent edges, bend extents, thread features, and presentation trails. The last two, thread features and presentation trails, are really used for Inventor. So we don't have to worry about that at this point. So we're pretty much all set. Move and exit, those are self-explanatory, and I'll just hit enter to exit that. And now it's asking me for another projected view. So I can, at this point, create my right-hand side view, or my top view, or my isometric view, depending on what direction I'm bringing my cursor. So I'm going to do my top view next, and I'll put it right about there, and I'll hit enter. Okay, and when you hit enter and exit out of it, you can see that it will create our first two views. It creates a viewport for you automatically. It puts in the hidden lines automatically for you, and it also sets up layers automatically for you. So if we come back up here to our home and we click on our layer properties in here, we'll see, in fact, we have our model, our hidden view, our hidden lines for our model, and our visible lines. And over here you can see it has our line type set for hidden 2 and continuous. It also sets a line weight. Okay, we have 0.35 and 0.5. Okay, in order to see those line weights on our screen, if we zoom up to this, right now you don't see any line weights, but you can come down here and turn on the toggle to show or hide line weights. So when I do that, you can see it will actually display the line weights on our screen. So we're all set that way. So let's go ahead and put in some more here. So I'm going to come back up to layout, and this time, instead of creating our base view, okay, we want to do our projected view next. So this command is called view projection. So we're going to click on this, and we basically pick the viewport that you want to project, and then just drag off to the side like this and enter that. So that gives us our right hand side view. We'll go back into view projection again and put in our isometric view up here. Okay, and I'll hit enter and get that done. So you can see our isometric view has hidden lines on it, which is fine for some people. Some people will want the hidden lines, and some people may not want the hidden lines. It depends on the complexity of the object. So if I pick this object, for instance, right now, notice that my ribbon detail changes up here. So we can do things like projected section detail, or edit view, or update view. So if I click on edit view, okay, I can come in here now, and under here you can see we have hidden lines. Okay, so we have visible lines and hidden lines, shaded with lines. So you can kind of go down through here and see how that works. So you could have a shaded view that looks like this with lines. You could go in here and have visible and hidden lines, just visible lines, shaded with visible and hidden lines. So you have all of those options, and I'm going to just go with visible lines. So we also have up here the scale, so we could change the scale if we wanted to. And we also have that edge visibility. And in this case here, we don't have anything that needs to be foreshortened. And this would be more or less for curved edges and things like that that create visible gaps. Okay, so if we had a fillet on here, then it would create that. And we can look at that in a few minutes here. So with that done, we have these 4 views now done. And I also would like to put on a couple of cross sections so that we can see how that works. So I'm going to take my cross sections both from the top view. We're going to do a cross section this way and a cross section this way. So to do that, we're back up here in layout, and we're going right along here, and we have our section. So I'm going to click on this, and when you drop this down, by default you're going to create a full section. You could create a half section, an offset section, or an aligned section, or a section from an object. So we'll just do full section here, and basically you pick this where you want your section to be. Okay, so I picked right there. Here's my A and my A, and then it wants you to drag your section over. Okay, you can't drag it up, can't drag it down. You can drag it from side to side. Notice when you drag it from side to side how your section changes. So we're going to just pop it over here. Don't be concerned that it's going the wrong way at this point, and just hit enter, and that will put that in, because we can rotate our viewport now. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick rotate and pick someplace in the middle there and just rotate this up like so. Okay, so that's our section AA, and you can see it automatically puts in the crosshatch lines, the hidden lines, and creates a section for us. It also is creating more layers as we're going here. So if you look over here, okay, we have annotation in here now, because what it did was put in this annotation for us, so it automatically put in that layer. It put in the hatching layer for us. Okay, it also put in a couple of other layers, hidden narrow and visible narrow. So we have a couple other line weights in here depending on the distance away from the face. For instance, on here, let's see if we can't see where our lines that are. Let's see if we can see them here. Well, I can't see any example of it right yet, but it's nice to know that, you know, the program's creating layers for us and giving us line weights and all that sort of stuff. So let's finish this up and go back into layout and do another section, another full section. And this time I'm going to pick the parent view, and I want B going from there across to there, and then I should be able to pull my section up or down. Oops. Something happened here. Let's cancel that. Didn't work. Let's try it one more time. So we'll pick this, and I'm going to pick it at the center like so, and it's going to let me pick there and there. And something weird's going on. It's not letting me do this next cross section. Let's try it again. We'll pick full section. There it is. Okay, so here you can see I need to pull it either above or below. So I'm going to pull it above, and then we'll move it into position afterwards and rotate it. So here's this one here. So now I should be able to use the move command and take off ortho here, so we can kind of move it where we want to position it. Let's turn off ortho and use the move tool again. So we'll pick someplace there in the center, and we should be able to move this thing. Maybe we, okay, we have to edit this, I'm sorry. So we're going to go in here to edit view, and so I'm glad this is happening, because what this is showing us is that AutoCAD doesn't want us to move this out of position It just wants to go up and down and side to side. So if that's happening to you, as it's happening to me, what you need to do is highlight the view and go into the properties, and up here, if this is set to aligned, okay, which is the default, when I go to move it, notice I can move it up and down, but I can't move it side to side. It won't move. So we have to go up here and basically change that. So I'll highlight that again, and we'll come up here and change the view alignment to broken. And by doing so, now I should be able to go ahead and move. Let's use the move command, and we'll pick our viewport, and then we can go ahead and move it wherever we want to put it. Right about there is good. And we also want to rotate this so that it's going in the correct direction. So I'll pick someplace here in the middle, and we're just going to rotate that, turn ortho on here. All right, so you can see here the title of this one is into this down here, so we can use the move tool, and you can physically move the text into the correct position. You might want to move the view as well a little bit so it's not so snug. And you can see how the text goes with the view, so you have to move the text independently. So, and we can move that up like that, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we have this done, and now we're ready to start putting on dimensions and notes and things like that. So I'm going to use the copy command, and we're going to copy this annotative text. Turn off ortho here for a second, and we're going to put it in here, down here, down here, and down here, because all of your views should have titles. So if I double click on this, I should be able to go ahead and put in a title for this. Isometric, and we're going to do scale NTS, which basically means not to scale. So NTS is a proper abbreviation. We could say that is actually at 1 to 2, but isometrics typically, they are to scales, but you know, I'm going to just leave it at not to scale. Okay, it just makes it easier. People typically don't dimension off an isometric unless they have to, and in this case here you're going to have dimensions on these 3 and on these 2, so you really don't need dimensions on this, so leaving it at not to scale makes sense. So in here we're going to say this is going to be our right side. This one here, double click, highlight, front, come up here, double click, top, and I guess that's good at this point. You can see the text, it brings it in, and up here it's bringing it in at basically a little less than 1/4 of an inch high text. So if you don't like that height, you can, you know, physically go in there and pick a lower scale. Okay, if you do that, you want to highlight your text first and then come up here and change the scale to something else, and then hit enter. Whoops, let's try that again. So we can just highlight it, come up here, pick 2, and that's it. It's pretty much done at that point. So we could do the rest of these this way, and I'm shrinking these down just because I know we need the space for other notes. So I'm actually going to change this size to 0.18, and then I should be able to let's see if match properties would work. Match properties, we'll pick our source object here, and I should be able to pick the rest of these and change the scale this way. Alright, so now those are all the correct size, and now we should be able to go ahead and do some dimensioning. Now, Before we do dimensioning, I just want you to know that AutoCAD has already set this up so that we can do dimensioning with annotative dimensions, but they've set it up a little bit differently because you're actually going to be putting your dimensions in Paperspace and not actually inside the viewport. Okay, we've done it both ways, and you can do it both ways, but with this particular program, the way that this has set this up, when we come in here to do our annotation and do our dimensions, okay, you'll see here, I'll go ahead and pick my first dimension. Say I'll go from here to here, and I'll drag this up, okay, and you can see it's the correct dimension. All right, the size and everything's a little bit, you know, too much. So what I'm going to do is come in here and go to my dimension style manager, okay, and you can see that right now it's currently set to standard and not annotative. Leave it in standard. AutoCAD's already set all this up for you, so don't have to worry about it. All we have to do is come in here and change the text size, the number of decimal points, and any other types of things that we might want to change. So we'll come in here and just change our text size, and in this case here we're going to make it 0.08, I guess. Whoops, 0.08, and we also will change our arrows to 0.08 as well. And under text, we want our text to be above and aligned with the dimension line. Okay, so above, aligned with dimension line. We'll come to fit, and we want our leaders for our radius to look like this, so we should be able to leave that alone. We may have to change a couple things here. We'll try over dimension line with a leader, and then under primary units we'll keep it at decimal, and we'll just drop it down to 2 decimal points, and that should be okay. So we'll okay out of that and close this, and then that changes that. Okay, we can see here that the extension above the dimension line is quite a bit, so I want to change that as well. One thing I kind of forgot there, so we'll go back into modify, and we'll go into lines, and extend beyond dimension lines is 0.08 as well, and close that out, and you can see those shrink up a little bit. All right, so in here I need a little bit of extra space for dimensioning down here at the bottom, so I'm going to use my move tool, and we're going to move this up so that that cross section is right up close, snug to the top up there like that, and we can move that text up, moving this up, and you can see by moving the front it's also moving the side, which is appropriate. And we need to move it again down just a little bit, and that looks pretty good there. All right, this one's a little bit close now, so we'll move that up as well, move this up as well. Okay, so now we should be all set to go in here and start throwing in our dimensions. So you know, we're going to start out here with our outer dimensions like so. Pull that down. Going to dimension this one, pull that down. Actually, let's erase that one and put in this one first. Should always go from biggest to smallest, so something like that will work. All right, and you know, then we could start dimensioning up the sides, so we're going to go from here to here. Okay, now when you put something like that in here and you want to put another one in up here, obviously we have to change that text, so you should be able to highlight it, just pick its grip and just kind of move it down like that. All right, so we can go ahead and finish this up. Now if I put that right on there, it's going to be confusing, so it's better if you kind of offset them a little bit, either in like this or out here like this. Either way works. So when you're all done, you'll end up having something that looks like this. And we did forget one thing. We forgot this little circle here. Now the nice thing about what's going on here, as far as these views, they are attached to the 3D model in model space. So if I make these changes on here and union that circle to those, it'll update these views. So that's a really cool thing, because when I was doing this originally back a few releases ago, this stuff was non-existent. So that's pretty cool. So in here, what we're going to do in this front view, we're going to do a circle, and we're going to do a 2-point circle, and I'm going to come over here and grab that endpoint to that endpoint, and that will put that circle in there like so. And all we have to do is extrude this. So we're going to extrude that back, okay, like that, and mirror that to the other side. Oops. Alright, now I can't mirror that, and this is good. You can see here X and Z, okay, your UCS is messed up here, so easiest way to fix that is UCS, enter, and then V for view, and it will reset it to the view for the top view, so X and Y. So now I should be able to go ahead and mirror this at this point. Okay, so we go straight down. Okay, like that. Alright, then we come over here and use our subtract command. So we'll pick that, and pick that, and there's our little curves that we forgot. So when we come back to our layout, lo and behold, those are on there now. Isn't that cool? Alright, so anytime you make a change in 3D, either you add or subtract or, you know, reunion or whatever, you're going to make changes to this, and they'll all be updated accordingly. So when you're done, your drawing should look very similar to this one here, and I guess that's it. Thanks for watching.